Hello, I'm Mandy Ure. I'm the Dean of Kingston School of Art and the Pro Vice-Chancellor for Inclusion and Sustainability for the university. I think it's a great collaboration. It started off smaller and gradual, and now it's becoming fully formed. There are more courses, but it's not just about the courses. It's about the way that we communicate and the fact that we're doing a lot more sessions together. We have more opportunities. We're bringing more briefs to the students, and there's just so many things we want to do, as well as talk series. So it's working. I think it's working very well, and it's a pleasure to be here today. And I wish you were a bit closer, and we could all come over a bit more often. But we can do some things online that are working really well. I think there's more that we can do in terms of we share a curriculum. I think we could share more project briefs. Obviously the context of India and the UK is slightly different, but a lot of the project briefs I think we could share so that they're a bit closer, and so that as well the students might be able to work together more than they do at the moment. So they're not working on the same thing in isolation, but we're bringing together the results. And collaboration is one of our new townhouse strategy points. Is something that we are trying to encourage more of with problem solving and creativity in the UK. And so I think it would make absolute sense to try and see what we could do in a clever kind of way that we haven't done before with IIAD as well. Well, I think obviously the physical footprint of the college itself is slightly bigger. It was great to just see some new studios and base rooms just now. We've grown with some more courses. I think we've got closer staff communication than we had before. So it's not just the formal meetings that we have for regulatory purposes, it's much more offline conversations as well. So it feels closer even though it's much further away. And the last time I was here was 3 years ago, just before the pandemic, right before it. And we've learned a lot from that, and I think it's just so nice to be back. It's just much better to be in person. I think they're quite similar actually. I think there are different materials used, there's different maybe processes in places. A lot of the ideas that students are working with are very similar. They're thinking about their identities now, they're thinking about the future, they're thinking a lot about globally where there might be issues, whether that's politically or environmentally. So, they are young people in the world, so they will be having a lot of these similar challenges, although there will be slight differences in contexts. But yeah, there's some fantastic work here. I've just been looking at a whole load of prototypes of things as well. It was really good. I think in particular, people were asking about the briefs and assessment points, but my favourite question was one of the students asked me what I do when I get that creative block. And I think that's a really interesting question. How do you keep motivating yourself when there are times when, yeah, you do get stuck, but how do you get yourself out of that to remind yourself of why you're doing it in the first place? So I think that was a really good question. I think actually, hopefully it's getting slightly more democratic, hopefully with new ways of communicating, new ways of doing things. Hopefully it's getting more voices in there and it's not so dominated. I think production is still quite dominated in certain areas of the world, and we saw that disrupted during the pandemic. And also I think we pay more attention to where those materials are coming from, so that the global West is hopefully not going to keep raiding various bits of the world for materials it needs, and everyone needs to think globally, but act locally as a bit of in terms of materials, so that there's a fairer distribution and a bit more of a democratic or democratising conversations across the world in terms of design.